So we're going to talk about scheduling information and notes here, starting with the 24 Mustang. So it is scheduling this week for production weeks, the weeks of, oh, wait, before we get into that, hold on, almost forgot this. Let's go through this real quick. So don't forget some of the terminology as we talk about this. And I always remember when I start hearing production weeks and scheduling and all that. So order banks are where dealers place their stock in retail orders. Retail orders are customer placed orders. So that might be you out there. Stock orders are orders that are placed by the dealer for stock inventory. So if they don't have any retails, they'll look at stock, just like priority code kind of goes into that. So when you place a retail order, it's in there from anywhere from an 03 to 19, whereas stock orders are put in as a 20 to 80. The lower, the better. So, I know on some of the Mavericks, they're actually getting put in. If you had an order from last year, Ford is making that an 02. If you had, and so that 02 is going to be a lot better than a 3 or a 10 or even a 19. Scheduling is when Ford schedules an order for production dates in future months, which is what we're going to talk about. Like Mustang here is scheduling for weeks in October, November, so they schedule ahead of time, of course. And then production dates, you're going to get scheduled to the week or to the day, and then eventually it'll get scheduled to the week, and then they'll get it down to the day. And that day could change a little bit, as some of our members can tell you when we look at those on a weekly basis. But usually once it gets sent to the order gets sent to the plant for that to be built, like a week or 10 days ahead of time, that date usually won't move at that point. Allocations is what is needed. So allocations are basically a dealer needs a set of allocations to be able to schedule an order. So if a dealer needs an allocation to schedule an order in the order bank, and a dealer earns allocations based on their sales volume in each of the different models, or a market basket mix, depending on the model. If it's a new model or something like Bronco that's new, as well as Maverick that's new, that those can be done a little differently. Constraints, that is an option that's in short supply or may take longer to build, and for that reason, the capacity is one that might take longer for it to get scheduled if you have those things on your order. So that's kind of some of the constraints we'll talk about. Capacity is the planned production run for a certain motor, trim, or option. Like we know on the Maverick right now, it's a hybrid is 52% will be scheduled as a hybrid right now. 48% is EcoBoost. So we know that mix. Job 1 and job 2, that's a production run within a model year. So every model year, they've been doing this for years and years. So job 1 is usually the start of a certain new model year. Job 2, if they need to make any significant changes or something, or reintroduce something that, like, probably you're more than likely on your F-150, 24 F-150, that job 2 is probably where we're going to see that pro-axis tailgate. Right. And then balance out is the end of production. So some of these are balancing out for 23 as we start up for 24. And so that's some of that terminology. So in case you needed any of that. So, all right. So to work on this arm here. Anyway. So, all right, let's go into 24 Mustang is scheduling this week for the production weeks, the week of October 30th to November 27th. Again, Dark Horse retail orders should be prioritized ahead of stock orders. So make sure that if you have an order for a customer, that it's put in as a retail order. And also just a reminder that the 20-inch wheel, premium painted wheel that is on the premium model that's optional is again for retail orders, open for retail orders and stock amendments. So there you go. Retail only option is the GT Performance Package. We actually got one in that somebody turned down, so we actually will have a stock one available, but there you go. Exhausted availability is the Dark Horse Handling Package. They will not be scheduled until April production, and we're talking about November production here. The Night Pony package is also exhausted availability due to limited capacity on black painted roof. So dealers should consider removing this option if they want a stock one scheduled. So they're going to try to, keep those to the retails. So I don't have order banks are open up for 24 Mustang, and they're actually building those right now because they're not on strike yet. All right. 24 model year Escape retail scheduling for 24 model year. So they are ramping up. I thought that was going to be a couple weeks yet before that was being done, but it looks like they are scheduling for 24 model year startup, which is for production weeks, the weeks of November 13th through November 27th. So do remember there is no base series this year. Active is the new retail only equipment group. So dealers won't be able to order an active. You have to go up to ST line and above for that. All right. 24 model year Bronco Sport. Now they are scheduling this week. Order banks are open up for those as well right now. They're scheduling for the weeks of November 6th through November 27th, so the month of November. Exhausted availability on the Outer Banks series. So there you go. A lot of people wanting the Outer Banks. Exhausted availability as well on the different optional packages available. So we're talking about the convenience package, which is optional on the Big Bend, the premium package, which is available on the Badlands, as well as the front and rear splash guards, exhausted availability. Now, exhausted doesn't mean we're going to see zero. It just means it's going to be more limited than what it was already, because they have so many orders that want that on there, and they don't have the parts supply to be able to make those. Also, late availability for the black appearance package and the freewheeling series. Those are both late availability. I'll keep you guys posted on when those can be ordered. All right. 24 model year Edge, you can order those except for the ST. ST is closed, but otherwise you can order that. And then they are scheduling for for production weeks, the weeks of October 30th through November 27th. So basically the month of November. And then there you go. That's about it. Because the other one's about ST, which I just said. All right. 23 model year Bronco, no scheduling. We're not really surprised because that plant right now is not producing Broncos at this time. So if you had a build date for this week, it probably got moved back. Just as a reminder, the two-door Heritage Limited is delayed in production and scheduling. It does say we're pausing accepting orders as well for 24 model year Heritage and Heritage Limited two-doors. Let's see what else. Of course, the paint we know about the shadow black paint for the non-Raptors is restricted. And then all Broncos except the Raptor and 24 model year do not come standard with it. Okay. Anyway, actually, I'm going to talk about this little note right here in the dealer news updates because we got some information on it. 24 model year order banks are open right now, and they are extending 23 to help with the launch of the Ranger, which is having its own issues right now. All right, as you know why. 23 model year Explorer scheduling for the production weeks in November, so the weeks of October 30th through November 27th. By the way, the order banks are closed for all retail orders at this time. So they are going to see what else. Dealers will have the ability to submit stock orders for the remainder of 23 model year. If you didn't get yours in, you can ask the dealer to put in a stock order. We've got a bunch of allocations. Looks like we got a bunch that are going to get scheduled this week. If stock orders are selected for scheduling within the existing commodity constraints, customers will have the ability to purchase them upon arrival. So if you can't get that stock one in. And then don't forget 360-degree camera will be built without that. So they're required to have that removal option. 60X put on the order. Base 100A are retail only. I'd be surprised if that goes away for next year, which is good because I don't like the word base on any trim. I don't know who thought the naming something base was a good idea, but it's not. Limited availability for the 3.3 liter engine, as well as the 2.3 EcoBoost engine. That doesn't leave very many options here. Also, limited availability for the limited version, platinum version, XLT version, King Ranch version, because those all have those engines. And also four-wheel drive. Also, limited availability for the high-performance brakes. It's funny they spelled it wrong in here. Also, the Class 4 trailer tow package, as well as the ST high performance package and the twin panel moonroof. We are getting to the end of build out for 23 model year. This is why we're seeing a lot of these being limited. We saw that with the Super Duty, which we still kind of see for 24, but also exhausted availability for the ST line version, as well as the XLT Sport appearance package. So exhausted is worse than limited. So limited means it can still happen. Exhausted means it's a very slim chance. It's like, very low odds, like slim to none. I will tell you this, 24 model year order bank is going to be opening in October sometime. I've gotten in trouble for actually saying dates. Let's just say the middle of October sometime. You get more information soon, probably. Job 1 should start the first of the year. So that's all I'm going to say. I won't get in trouble. 24 model year. I did find it. So Ford, You got it out there somewhere. If you don't want people to know, you don't want us to tell about it, you probably should take it off of the fleet news bulletin. 24 Ranger is not scheduling. We know why. That plan is shut down. We do does remind us again on Ranger Raptor, like they have for a while, to take off the dealer installed spare tire lock because it's not going to be available on the order guide anymore. Don't forget the FX4 packages need a running board. So if you have it with a Chrome package, it needs a Chrome board. If it's with the Sport package, it needs a Sport board, which we've mentioned about every week. So that way when they are scheduling. Job 1 has been moved to next week. So they were going to start production this week. They moved it back because the plant's down. They're on strike. So they won't get built right now. All right, 24 model year Maverick. They are scheduling this week for production weeks, the weeks of November 6th through November 27th. Limited availability on XL. Doesn't mean an XL won't get scheduled, but it's a pretty hard try there. Also, limited availability on the splash guards, tonneau cover, hard trifold, as well as the trailer tow hitch with the 4-pin connector. So I'm back to ditch the hitch again. My phrase from last year is back. Anyway, order banks are open up for these, so you can put orders in. And, a lot of people think, well, it's because the prices are high. I don't think so. I think it's because dealerships knew to take theirs. Like for us, we probably could take another 100 and 200 orders. People would put them in with us. The problem is that we can't fulfill those with our allocations. So I think dealers have done a good job to make sure that they don't over order for those. All right. Otherwise, again, keep splash guards, tonneau covers off of your orders anyway. Just a nice little reminder of that because, as you can see, it's not exhaustive availability. 24 model year Expedition order banks are open up for that. They are scheduled for the weeks of October 30th through November 27th. Platinum will require the optional 22-inch wheel, and Platinum units must include the multi-contoured seat removal. You need to put that on there. And also exhaust availability for the mahogany seats on those limited trims. I think it's limited that gets that. Yeah, that's right. All right, 24 model year Super Duty. Hold on a second. Might take a little while.
So they're talking about dog names. Someone said that they're from Missoula. They said, oh, that would be a good dog name. Someone said, I'm going to name mine Bartz.
Not sure how to take that. All right. So let's talk about order banks are open up for the 24 model year Super Duty. Job 1 is starting October 5th for the Kentucky truck plant. Ohio job 1 is going to be October 30th. And Ohio is not scheduling for their production weeks yet, but Kentucky is. So when we talk about 24 model year scheduling, it'll be for the Kentucky truck plant vehicles. So they're scheduling for the weeks of October 9th through the weeks of October 23rd. King Ranch and Platinum will be 100% multi-contoured seat. So that means that they have the multi-contoured seats to put on those. All chassis cab orders require the upfitter or the integration system. So you want to make sure the upfit integration system. That's option 18A. So that is now required on chassis cab orders. So make sure you get those on there. Limited availability on the King Ranch. Exhausted availability on F350, F550, Platinum Limited, and Lariat and Limited. What does that leave? XLT, XL. There you go. Limited availability for these following options: 20-inch chrome wheel that's on a single rear wheel only. That's the wheel code is 649. Also, the wheel code 64C. That's the 18-inch bright machine and carbonized gray painted alloy wheel, which is standard on the Lariat. Also, the two-wheel drive Dana axle that is optional on the F450, 550, 600 with the dualies and with the dual rear wheel and 4x4 pickup, or the two-wheel drive chassis cab. The transfer case that's standard on the F600 4x4s with the 7.3 or the 6.7 diesel engine. And with the 193-inch wheelbase or 205-inch wheelbase chassis cabs, as well as certain interiors, the Baja interior that's optional on the XL and Lariat. So you might want to make sure you go with the ebony interior. Exhausted availability for the following items. So that's pretty hard. Like these will probably be pretty hard to get scheduled. And one of them is the wheel that's standard on the F450 pickups. That's also the wheel that's optional on the F350 dualies. So it's that 19.5 G diameter wheel there. So also the LK frame, which is optional on the F550 and F600 with the 6.7 and 7.3 with the 143-inch dually with the payload package. Also the frame HBK, which is optional on the F350 two-wheel drive with the 7.3 engine and the 169-inch wheelbase. Now, I'm actually confused because it says with the 7.3 diesel engine. So I don't know if it's with the diesel or was it the gas. Ford, you need to fix that. Also, exhausted availability on the 193-inch wheelbase as well as the 205-inch wheelbase, which are both optional on the XL, XLT, 450, 550, 600 chassis cabs. And the Dana axle M315 rear, which is optional on the F350, F450, F600 dualies with a 7.67 diesel engine. And then also the low running frame GA, which is available on the F350 with the 7.3 gas engine or all diesel engines and the 145-inch wheelbase, as well as a low running frame PB, which is available on the F450 and F550 with the 7.3 gas engine or all diesel engines with the 179-inch wheelbase and the dual rear wheels. Also, heavy duty alternator, which is standard on the XL gas. You need to replace it with either 67B, 67D, or 67E. Also, the wheel 64F, the 18-inch argent painted steel with the painted hub cover and center ornament that's standard on the F350 single wheel regular cab, and optional F350 XL is also exhausted, as well as wheel option 64A, which is the 17-inch argent painted steel with the painted hub cover center ornaments that's standard on the XL. And then lastly, option 15K, which is the fifth wheel hitch kit. That is, of course, those are optional. Those are actually basically the ones that are optional is exhausted. But if it's on the King Ranch Platinum or Limiteds, it's standard on those. So those wouldn't be as affected. So there you go. 23 model year F-150. We know this is 23 model year scheduling, so they are still scheduling. 24 model year order banks are open up now. 23 is closed. You can place those orders except for the trimmer. And scheduling, they're scheduling for the weeks of November 20th, also the week of November 27th, and the week of December 14th. It says, all right. It does say we encourage dealers to utilize the COVP for all retail orders, but this does not impact retail order scheduling. It says dealers will have the ability to submit stock orders for the remainder of 23, though. So if you didn't get theirs, you still want a 23. Maybe you don't like the look of the 24. You want to put a 23. Dealer can put a stock order in for you. And there is no intention of providing a model year transition offer for customer orders that are not produced in a 23 model year. So if you have a 23 model year order, they're not going to give you a private offer if you have to reorder a 24. It says regardless of the COVP status. So just something to keep in mind there. There you go. All right. Now, 23 model year F-150 Lightning. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a second. They are scheduling for the same weeks of November 20th and the weeks of November 27th and the week of December 14th. So make sure you get those in. Order bank is not closed. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. That's my, is it true? Just a second. And then they have the same note. They just copy pasted from the F-150 down to that Lightning. So some of that stuff's not relevant. So we're going to skip the rest of it. 23 model year Mach-E is scheduling for the weeks of October 30th through November 27th. Order banks are open up, and they have taken off the note about the California Route 1 for stock orders. So that's something to take note of there. 23 model year Transit Connect van and wagon is scheduling for the weeks of October 30th through December 18th, the weeks of December 18th. Balance out for the Transit Connect, which is done in the U.S., is December 22nd. That is the last day they're going to build a Transit Connect in the United States. So Sounds like to me they may still make them in Europe, but we'll be done with after that. No constraints. They're going to finish out that. So there you go. 23 model year Transit. That is scheduling for the weeks of November 13th and the week of November 20th. There you go. Orders are needed from dealers for non-E Transits with the 3.5 V6 Cyclone engine. That's 99.8, as well as the 3.5 EcoBoost 99G. And also, the temporarily available for stock orders is the high-res camera, option 61E. Limited availability for these following options, and that is the high roof jumbo bus, the high roof long bus, the 360-degree camera, the AM/FM with the 4-inch multi-function display, the Transit Trail package, and the 10-way power driver and ebony leather seat. Now, completely balanced out, which means it's done for the model year, is the depopulated key, the power running boards, the side barn doors, the all-crew van body types, and the Transit 350 heavy-duty dually cutaway chassis cab and cargo vans. Not available for stock orders is the 3.5 EcoBoost 99G, although it mentions it wants those up above, so maybe they got to get their things straight there. And then also 360-degree camera, not available for stock orders either. So there we go.